The Anti-Defamation League has published a new study on anti-Semitism in hiring practices. Joining us now, Jonathan Greenblatt, CEO and National Director of the ADL. Reading some of these numbers, it surprises me. I didn't necessarily think that DEI initiatives would be as important to Jewish people. And the
data doesn't lie.
Tell us about the data.
Sure. So basically, we wanted to try to evaluate whether anti-Semitic rhetoric is having real-world implications on labor markets. And so we conducted the largest field experiment that we know of that looked at resumes being submitted for white-collar jobs, where we used identical resumes, over 3,000 applications. And the control group were sort of European names. And then we had a test group of Jewish-sounding names and Israeli-sounding names. Again, these were the same resumes, just the names changed and some of the signals on the resume, like maybe the activities that you were involved with. And indeed, what we found was quite dramatic, that the Jewish applications, they needed 24% more versus the control to get the same results.
24% more.
24% more applications to get just a positive response. And the Israeli-sounding resumes, 40% more.
Wow. Where did you send these?
White-collar jobs in multiple cities over the last 6-7 months.
Across the country?
Yeah, across the country in different metros.
Was it different in different geographic locations?
No, same performance. Again, all white-collar in different industries. I mean, it's quite stunning. But it shows us, again, and we're an evidence-based, fact-focused organization. And I believe in facts, not feelings.
Have you done that before?
No.
But this is what we don't know if this is a rise in anti-Semitism or if this is the traditional...
What we certainly do know is we assess anti-Semitic attitudes as well. We've seen intense anti-Semitic attitudes, Becky, more than double in the past 5 years. We've watched incidents surge. We tracked over 10,000 in the 12 months after 10/7. That's a 200% increase. And so, now we're seeing impacts on labor markets, where, again, Jewish people or Israeli people are experiencing discrimination.
I just wonder if that discrimination existed before. Are you going to do this on an annualized basis?
We likely will continue to repeat this, because we hadn't done this kind of field study to objectively test. And the results are quite dramatic, and they're disturbing. They're disturbing.
And I was trying to figure out the methodology and the control group and the statistical. So there's no way that this is an aberration.
No. So this was a real deal field study run by an economist out of the West Coast, Dr. Brian Tomlin.
And enough 3,000 was...
Yeah. So look, this data statistically demonstrates that, again, rhetoric creates real-world results. And we're really alarmed about it. So now the question is, what do we do? And you were talking a few minutes ago.
And that's what I was going to say. Yeah. Have the gap between the perception of the president-elect somehow being, his language in the past, which people, find people on both sides rhetoric, which I think has been, I don't know, that was trumped up or at least not exactly accurate the way it was done. And then, he's got, Jewish grandkids. From what you're saying, the statement yesterday, he seems to be a more ardent backer of Israel than Biden.
Well,
the Biden administration.
There's a few things going on, right? So with respect to the study that we ran on labor markets, again, I think a DEI industrial complex, which excludes rather than includes Jews, it magnifies the problem, right, rather than mitigate.
Well, DEI is going away anyway.
Is the answer to get rid of DEI?
DEI is going away anyway, so, yeah.
Jewish people also part of DEI. What's your argument on that?
It's hard for me to make sense, again, of a program that's supposedly focused on creating more diverse environments when we see that it's actually diminishing that in considerable degree.
All right, well,
it's not working.
Get back to what you were saying. Are you happy or not? Are you happy with the cabinet? Happy? You mentioned Matt Gaetz had some answer. He's gone. So how about the rest of the way things are going right now? Happy, sad, waiting to see what happens? Where are you?
Look, there's no question that these early days of the new Trump administration have been some very promising signs from my point of view. What the president said on Monday, or president-elect said on Monday about hell raining down on Hamas. That was long overdue.
Right.
We need moral clarity from our leaders.
Instead of the same kind of rhetoric directed at Israel and what Israel is doing, which we're getting
there are a number of
almost
members of
daily.
on the Democratic side in the Senate, which are just astonishing to
And
me.
in the administration as well, we heard it.
I think President Biden has done incredibly hard work to try to get these hostages freed. But look, I spent yesterday morning, Joe, out in Syosset at the memorial service for Omar Nutra, one of the Israeli Americans who we believed he'd been kidnapped. No,
now we know
he'd been murdered on the 7th. And
right.
these people from Hamas had withheld the information from his family for 420 some odd days. And to see how they've suffered because of a war that Hamas started, we need all those hostages to get released.
What about the
now.
video from Aiden Alexander's family?
Aiden from Teaneck.
From Teaneck, or Tenafly.
Or Tenafly. I mean, this is a young man from right over the bridge. Yeah. And the idea that we are not putting everything that we can with every leader, every elected leader should be standing from the rooftop saying, arrest the Hamas, people in Doha, seize all of their assets, use every possible measure to get those hostages released. This whole war would end if those hostages simply came home.
Well, we'll see what the future brings with as far as Iran goes, which is one of the, the root cause of a lot of this stuff.
Iran is the root cause.
And we'll see. I would say that there's some nervousness in Iran.
There should be anxiety in Tehran because Trump sees them for who they are. They can't be appeased. They need to be dealt with directly and forcefully, 100%.
Okay. All right.